this is something a little different that we're doing. Welcome into CUTV Scenes. I'm Stephen Ruffing, and CUTV is getting into the podcast game now. So, to start things off, to get everyone's feet wet, I'm going to be joined today with Gary Smith. You'll be hearing mostly my voice throughout this whole thing, but the other voices with me will be changing. Gary, I know you'll probably be on this a lot because you are the mind down here at CTV. You hold all of the stories.
I thought you were going to say the mold because I've been around so long. That's one of the things. There's a lot that I've seen in my years, and it's good we're doing this because we travel a lot in the van or the truck, and we tell these stories. And I'm starting to get to the point where I'll tell a story, and I forget that now that my brain's going. Forget the actual story. I remember the punchline. So it's good we get all these stories from 32 years of history on a podcast form, and hopefully the alumni that hear this will bring back some good memories and hopefully have some good laughs.
Yeah, I mean, I know just the stories that were told to me, and you said they leave you a little bit. I've heard these stories probably 5 times at least each, but it's great because these stories, they live in your brain right now. I mean, you have it all. Of course, we're going to get some voices of the people that have went through it. They've lived those, but I mean, this is gonna age you here a little bit, Gary. You've been around for 20, 25 years?
Well, it's not like 25. Let's see. This is as we're shooting this day. It's 2018.
21?
I graduated in 2018, so since 95, so 23 years student, and then staff starting in 01 and full-time in 03. So yeah, better part of, like I said, we're 32 years into CUTV, and I've been around for 20, I just did the math.
Hell of a lot.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I just did math a few minutes ago, can't remember it, so it's good we get these, the oral history of CUTV in digital form, so that our, the CUTV people in years 50 and 70, whenever we're all just in digital boxes, can also relive them.
And we're putting these stories into a digital box. That's why it's good, because humans don't live forever.
No.
These will.
Yeah.
And it's great to get these stories going and making them live forever. Now, we're in the midst of basketball season. We are in full swing. We cover everything. And usually they don't go as planned.
No, there's never, in my 1,000 and so shoots, I think we've had 4 that have gone as planned. Right. There's always something that goes wrong. Always.
Exactly. And
hilariously wrong.
Right. The ones that sometimes you're pissed when they happen, and sometimes you laugh on the spot. Yep. But the one thing that they have in common is that when you look down the line, when 3 months later, 5 months later, a year later,
21 years later,
you can sit back and laugh. And we're going to Gannon Wednesday. Today is Monday, February 5th.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boom. I got
day after the Super Bowl.
There it is.
Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah. But we're going to Gannon. We're going to Akin. It's a long, tiring trip. And how many times have you made this trip?
Well, the funny thing about this is, Gannon's only been in the PSAC since about 2007 or 2008, but in that short amount of time, there's been a lot of interesting events and things that have happened in Gannon. Now, first, as you mentioned, it's a long trip. Typically, with the CUTV trip, we have to be at a basketball arena about 2 hours before tip-off. So for a Wednesday night, we have to be there around 3:30, which is 2 hours before the women's tip, which means you have to travel. You just can't show up. I wish you could just beam in, but so we're leaving California about 11:30, 12, 1 o'clock if certain people who don't obey the speed limit will drive, which means a lot of people are sick in class that day. But yeah, Gannon is an interesting place. Their basketball arena is situated, I think, 4 blocks from Lake Erie. This time of year it's frozen, so if you make
you're gonna rate. If you don't make a turn.
Let's just say if you make a DiAgostino left, you're gonna end up on the ice. And that's a podcast for another time. The Hershey Tony left, but there's been some stuff. And the other thing is, I've been to every conference school football and basketball. I might be the only person that can say that. That's kind of depressing, I guess.
Well, yeah,
I don't know how you want to judge that, but I've been to every venue. But Gannon, I love going to there because their sports information staff is always treated us well. Their facility staff, they go above and beyond, and the fact that so much weird stuff happens in both football and basketball. We can touch on both of them.
We had an experience up there, myself and you and myself, for basketball. Though during the winter break, we were up there for radio, and we almost burned the place down.
Yeah,
a story for maybe later on in this, but we're going to focus on the story you have. But there's so much stuff that just explains that there's just so much stuff that goes on in Erie.
And Gannon starts where, like I said, their arena is right downtown Erie, which Erie is one of your 4 biggest cities in PA, and it starts with if we take the truck, you have to make I have to make an illegal left. I've had to do it. I think there's only twice. Allegedly, there's an illegal left. So you have to hope that no one is parked in those spots because, like I said, it's right on the city street, and they do a great job of usually keeping people out of there. But you never know if there's a coach or a work study that just is popping in for a second at the same time we're there. So, I'm going against traffic. I'm going against angry, Erie people just trying to make their normal commute, get to Tim Hortons, go home, see their family, and not think about Division II athletics. Where I'm trying to get to do a D2 athletics event. So we start, we usually make a lot of people in Erie mad by making that illegal left. And then
hard to get Erie people mad. Good people up there in Erie.
You know what? They're close. They are very polite. They're close to Canada. They have like 3 Tim Hortons within spitting distance of where the truck is. But this time of year, that snow. I've been up there where we have to put the cables into the building. We've had to shovel out like 4 or 5 feet of snow.
Jeez.
So
They get a lot of snow.
I think the snow makes them angry. And
that's like the one thing. But maybe that's why they put the Tim Hortons in. Hey, we got 7 feet of snow, but here's 3 Tim Hortons.
It's almost like if you live in Erie, you're trying to it's like you're part of this fraternity. You're always trying to make people rush it because anytime I talk to anybody up there new, they're like, "Oh, you should come up here in the summer. It's beautiful. You should move up here in the summer. It's beautiful." And it is great for that week of summer that's not snowing.
It's like the Alaska of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's like distance running. I have a lot of friends that distance run. They never look happy, but they're always like, "This is great. You should try it," because they don't want you to be the only person miserable. Like if you're living in Erie in the winter, they don't want to be the only people hey, it's great in the summer, but we don't want to be the only people miserable. We don't look like idiots.
We don't want to be the only ones living in.
Yeah, so they're trying to get people up there because they figure the more the merrier. But that's my rant on distance running and living in the North Pole.
And that's talking distance running.
Yeah, that's it. That's our show for the day. Distance running.
But so let's look back.
Okay.
On some of your crazier stories in Gannon that maybe something that me personally I wasn't here for. I've been here for a few years now. Let's look back on something that not a lot of people now would really understand. Like they wouldn't hear, they wouldn't know. They just put them through that and maybe give some alumni some nostalgia. Maybe they remember that.
And we're going to start with football. A good introductory story is, about 10 years ago when Gannon joined the conference, they played night games. Thank goodness they don't play night games typically anymore because the first time we were up there was a night game in end of October, and it was cold. And as we'll probably talk about, the setup at Gannon's football field is not the greatest. No. It's just where their field is located is in the middle of a downtown block. There's not a lot of facilities. So you have a press box, and then you have to that's where you set camera 1 up, and then you have to set camera 2 up on the locker room, which means you're setting it up and trying not to get taped up and play football because
I'm sorry to cut you off. The view is just horrible.
Yeah, it's not a great view because you're far. Again, like that, we make do with what we can. Then their people are great, but it's in terms of setting up and doing the game, it's tough. Now, when we first started going up there, the alumni office would do Vulcan tailgates at every away game, which was great because it kind of like the parents did this year. You see the cow flags. It's nice. And I was good friends with the alumni director at the time, Amy, and they were setting up almost 3 blocks away because that's where the parking was. And no one wanted to drive. There was such a small turnout on the homes or the visiting side, no one came because it was a night game in Erie. It was going to be like 30 degrees. So as anyone knows that's done a shoot, you're running around. There's times that there's no one in the truck because people are setting cameras up, people are running cables, people are trying to make things work. So we all come back after, I think, trying to sneak back through the locker room, and there were 3 giant trays of sandwich rings. I'm like, where are these sandwich rings coming from? So halftime comes, and we didn't touch them because we're like, we don't know.
Right.
And then Amy comes by, and she's like, are you guys going to eat those or what? We had extra ones. So that was the first one. And the second one is a good one, too, because the old days we had to park on the city street by the football field.
So were the sandwich rings eaten?
Oh, they didn't make it through the third quarter. I'm not going to say we phoned that third quarter in, but there was a lot of deli mustard all over the control. And the bad thing is the camera people, of course, they're like, well, I wonder why they're mumbling. Like, we're recording 131. Oh, no, we're not eating sandwich rings. We're not doing anything like that. And they're just freezing and miserable up there. And then they got theirs on the way back. They ordered a lot of sheets on the way back, too. That was a tough budget day that day. But another good one is from football. I was driving up with Clinton Logan and Gloria Stone, and it was homecoming for Gannon. It was an afternoon game. Now, again, like I said, their people do a great job of doing what they can, but where the football field is where we used to park, they don't own the city streets. They just,
Right.
They just say, hey, we'd like nobody to park here and here. But when it's homecoming, there's a bunch of student housing and parties. So when we show up, the whole street is, and there's no way that, they're like, we can get them towed. I'm like, well, you're not going to get them towed till like noon. The game's at 1.
Right.
We don't have enough time to set up.
Puts us in a worse position.
Yeah. So Clinton, Gloria, like, we can guide you. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, there's enough room. So me and the truck are trying to back in between like a Mercedes and another car up on the sidewalk.
Jeez.
And so I backed in, cut off the entire sidewalk, but we got in there. And then at the end, when we're done with the game, everything went off fine. I almost hit a tree, and then Clint's like, I'll start traffic, and we got out of there. But yeah, there's been some craziness for football, for sure. And then basketball is just a different world, because it's colder.
Right, it's colder, and you're going up there, you struggle. Now, was Gannon the one? Gannon wasn't the one where no, it was. We were in a van that we just almost died. That trip was just ridiculous.
That was the same trip. We might as well tell that story. We've teased it. Last year's radio trip, me and Steve went up, and it started with me and Steve getting in a blue van, just living life. We're gonna
just a couple dudes in a blue van going to Erie. It's just your basic thing. And this is winter break, so it's just Gary and I.
Yeah.
It's
like but I think it was like January 3rd. It was right after New Year.
It was one of the first games that we did.
Yeah.
It was one of the first games that we did. And I came back from Monhall, came back to California, and off we go.
Yeah. And the trip started bad because I got to the stop sign at the end of campus, and I go, hey, Steve, not to alarm you, but we have 2 pedals, and both are hitting the ground. What should we do? And you're just like, let's just go.
Let's just go.
And I'm not sure you heard exactly what I said, because you weren't alarmed.
Right. I was, I just followed the captain. That's what I was. I was first mate, and the captain didn't sound alarmed, so why would I? Steve, so those 2 pedals that we have, stop and go.
Not good.
Arguably the 2 important parts of a car. Both of them pushing them down to the ground.
They're both hitting the floorboards.
The brake is through the floor, and we glided to the stop sign.
Well, we got through there, and then I think my thought process was, we don't have to stop again till Grove City.
It's just it's optional to stop.
Yeah, I mean, it's all highway. I mean, I can glide if I need to. I can get off the accelerator. So we make it to Grove City's Permanis, and glide in there. And Steve and I dined on. I think we're going to call him Johnny New Guy, because you got what? You got the sandwich, and I got the steak salad, and it was a full steak.
And if you've ever been to Permanis, it's not your classic shaved steak. It's basically a burger. It's basically a burger patty. I got the sandwich, and there was a whole cow on the sandwich, and you got the salad. Yeah. And if you could just picture this, Gary's looking at his plate, I'm looking at my plate, and we both just look up at each other, and we're basically like, this is just already going off the rails.
And the bad thing is, and this is going to sound bad, but, we're both thinking in our head, we're going to be announcing a basketball game for 4 hours. We know where the bathrooms are in Gannon. And we're hoping, just praying that we're going to be on different cycles because it was. I don't think there's an option on the Permanis menu to order that amount of meat. There really isn't.
It should be illegal.
Yeah, I think that guy got fired.
He might have got fired. You gave all of our profits away to these two guys.
He got a huge tip, but man, it was rough. And then
a lot of beef.
Oh, and then the other thought process for me was, we can't stop.
Right.
There's 5 rest stops, but I don't know how many more times. I think I might have 2 more stops in this van at Gannon and when we get back. So we get on the road, we get to Gannon, we both make it. The van stops on the city street, which is good.
I don't think we stopped. I think the van just ceased to move.
I think it basically. I think it actually hit some ice that was piled up and it stopped, and we
hit the brakes at Grove City to stop at Gannon.
And it wasn't like. I don't even think there were any brakes. It wasn't like they were grinding. There just was no concept of brakes. It just was like it was like a toy, okay, little guy. This pedal's gonna make it go. This pedal's gonna stop it, and didn't do either. But then we get to Gannon and almost burn the place down, which is hard to do.
Hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing it with
2 9-volt batteries.
Yeah, 2 9-volt batteries. We have the radio gear and we have the batteries in them, and don't know how. We must have put them in the wrong way or something.
But you think there'd be a safety catch or something?
But you all got to also. I don't know. I really don't know how it happened, but.
Because you discovered it, right? I don't think
I thought. Well, the radio gear wasn't. It was on, but
it
wasn't
started.
working.
Yeah, it started. It worked for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it was all staticky and died. And we're like, what? We just put batteries in.
Just put new batteries in it, and then we felt the radio box itself. It's just this small.
Yeah.
We felt it, and it was piping hot, and we just looked at each other like, "What the hell is going on?" And so I think you took the batteries out.
Second bravest thing I did that day.
Second bravest thing you did that day. And you take them and you have them in your hand, and you're just like, whoa, these are hot.
And I remember they were so hot. I mean, they were still untouchable until the men's game, 2 hours later. We push them. Gannon's press box, or most of the places aren't any boxes for basketball. Usually either way up top or courtside. And Gannon's kind of catty corner in the corner. It's a great location because you're hanging out over the court. But there's not a lot of room, so we had all these papers, and we're pushing those batteries as far away. I'm like, if those things catch fire,
we're done.
Yeah. We're never going to be asked back.
And they could have very well. I don't want to know what would happen if we kept those batteries in there.
Would have been bad. I think we'd be spending another $1,000 on a radio gear because like I said, I don't know how that happened, or they were just bad batteries. But the amazing thing is,
I guess we just put new batteries.
We put new batteries in, and the amazing thing is we had 2 other batteries because normally it's 2 batteries is fine.
We had 2 batteries and. Hopefully,
it'll be fine.
That they work, and these ones did. And I mean, words can't explain how hot these batteries were. Mm-hmm. I mean, just piping hot. If you would have held them in your hands for longer than 5 seconds, you would have had a burn mark.
I think if you still look closely in my hand, Duracell, you can see it burned into my hand. But that. That was another one. Another good one was a couple years ago, and also involves our good friend Gloria and her now fiance Ryan, who was running replay for us. Or they both were running replay. We made the illegal left. I think Ryan probably drove the truck, so I didn't have any mental issues because he's a really good driver of the truck. So we get there, we're set up, we're doing the games, and of course it's 20 degrees. It's freezing, and a lot of the problems is sometimes with computers, things don't work or things get wonky. So we're doing the game. And I think we're in the men's game at this point. And the replay system, the old replay system before the 3-play, it was just a little hard drive, stops. It doesn't stop, but it starts lagging. So, and again, we can only really, normally we can only really run 2 cameras, so we had extra people for that shoot. So Ryan's on replay or Gloria's on replay or something, and we're trying to figure it out. What's happening. I'm directing, and Ryan works at WPXI now, so he has he always has had a good knowledge of equipment and stuff. So he's trying to figure. We're both trying to problem solve. Gloria's trying to problem solve, and I'm not sure the exact order of the next events, but all of a sudden the back of the truck is open, and there's a breeze going through, and Gloria is standing there like holding the door open. Now, I don't know if there was any discussion, like if I was in the zone and Ryan said, should we try this? I said, yeah, that's fine, and not really notice. Because Gloria's out there, and I think finally snapped back into it. And I'm like, Ryan, what's Gloria doing? Trying to get air going through, which makes sense, and it worked. It ended up working, but that's a testament to their love that they're still together and getting married. But I thought both of us were going to die by Gloria's hand because it was, like I said, 20 degrees. And I'm not sure why she didn't try and make Ryan go stand outside. Again, I probably was only half paying attention, and next thing I know, Gloria's outside with like shooting darts with her eyes at both me and Ryan. But it worked. Somehow it worked. That's the amazing thing. Like, sometimes you think the craziest and dumbest idea, there's no way to work, and it worked fine. So.
And that just goes to show every trip is different. I mean, tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Wednesday. Now I have to do this.
8th. No, 7th. 7th.
We're not very good at math. It's not. It's. Hope we all fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly, but you almost have to be a pessimist in this kind of business.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, well, the old truck, or actually no, it was the new truck. So sometimes for people that know, we can run the truck either off a generator, which is easiest because we just pull in and start. But sometimes the generator, there have been issues where either the oil filter there's a safety where if it's getting close to it needs replaced, it'll cut off. And there was a time a couple years ago again at Gannon it was that time of year.
These many stories. This is just for Gannon.
Yeah, in 10 years.
We have a lot. Yeah. And just imagine all the perspectives of everyone else. It's because there's stories of surprisingly that you probably forget.
Oh, I guarantee there's a ton.
Remember,
yeah.
And it's just going to be nice to get a refresher of all of these things. But
it's going to be good to have them on space. Yeah, but so for whatever reason, we had to plug in. I guess the generator needed servicing or whatever. So, and again, most places will have a plug. Now, our plug that we use in the truck is one of the plugs that has a sideways prong. So it's not it's basically a standard extension cord, but you need one of the outlets, and I forget why. I forget. I don't know if it's a higher voltage or amp or whatever, but you need a special plug. Now, Gannon's building was built in the 40s or 50s. It's probably one of the greatest home venues because that place gets loud. So we pull up, we're getting stuff set up, and I was talking to their facilities guy, Tony, who's a great guy. I always love talking to him. And we're looking, and where we had enough extension cord to reach, we probably had about 50 feet either way. And I look at the first outlet, 2 prongs.
2 prongs.
So I'm already thinking, well, it's going to be one of those days. Next outlet, 2 prongs. And Tony sees me kind of doing the mutter to myself because he just said, hey, there's outlets everywhere.
Yeah.
Which there were.
Right.
But they were 2-prong. Or they were 3-prong that didn't have a slide. And he goes, we might have, because I showed him the end. He's like, I might have what you need. So he comes over. He's like, we're just going to unplug the organ. And I'm like, first of all, I've been here how long and didn't know there was an organ?
That's so
and second of all, don't you need the organ? So Tony's like, no, we're good. We have, everything we'll just play off of CD or whatever. Yeah. They might have a pep band there that day. So we unplugged the organ. I'm just like, only in Division II.
Only in
this, yeah, because the decision was made so quickly. It wasn't like, he's like, and it was either Tony or it might have been their athletic director, who's a great guy. Dealt with him for years, and he's a super guy, and I can see him making that snap decision, just going, just unplug the organ. We don't need the organ today. Just whatever you guys need.
What I've noticed, I'm sure everyone has, when you're dealing with these we say it's D2, only in D2, and of course we are a TV station that has to deal with just everything D2, and you go talk about those just 2 prongs. And that was the moment where you just said to yourself, well, here we go again. And every shoot that we're on, there's always that one.
There's always something.
Where you're just like, oh, God, it's going to be one of those days. And there's just always that one moment. And
the good thing is I've been doing this, like I said, since 03 full-time, then since 01 then as a student. So I've been everywhere. And I have good relationships with every SID in the conference. They do a lot of work. They're asked to do a lot of stuff. A lot of them don't have a lot of help. great friends with our SID, Matt Kiefer, who's probably one of the best in the country, D1, D2, or D3. But like I said, everyone is kind of in the same boat dealing with stuff. So, and the fact that we've been there a lot, so they all know, me and the crew know what we kind of need. But that's why I think sometimes if that, like even on their end, they're like, I knew we should have told the electricians to put a 3-prong in. And they're like, we could have addressed this. And then it's just like, because everyone's in the same boat and everyone's so accommodating trying to get things done. But there's just, every facility is different. It's not like if you go to, like an ACC or Big 10 or Big 12 school where, there's certain standards because they're getting, ESPN, local TV, all kinds of stuff in. We're lucky with our association with PCN that we've done games with, on the road and home. But even, some of their requirements, like if it's not here, places can't meet. But so like I said, it's great that everyone's kind of in the same boat and helps everybody out and can kind of share in the laughter. Like last year when we went, and we'll just tease an IEP story, we went for basketball and we're setting up, and due to us needing to go to a bathroom for a half hour, we got a Darth Vader and we're setting up, and Ryan at the SID for IEP just was sending her stuff and saw Darth Vader sitting there and smiled but didn't even bat an eye, just Darth Vader's on press row tonight.
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
He just looked at it.
You guys need anything? Is Vader good? All right, let's go.
Vader good?
Yeah.
Phone
line working? All right, let's go.
All right, let's go. Now that IUPs, that would be a different episode.
Yep.
Have Anthony on for that one. He was the third member of the team.
That's true.
And
or we could get Darth Vader.
We could get Darth Vader. I know Darth. I personally know him. He's sitting in my room. So we could have that, and let's just say that was an interesting one. There was Throw Up, there was Darth Vader, and there was just a couple guys saying to themselves, this is D2.
This is D2.
Not everyone gets to experience D2. I think that should be a rule for all D1 level programs that they have to experience D2 for.
Real quickly, because I know we probably want to bring this to a close. We're going to I'm going to tell one quick story. It doesn't have to do with Gannon, but it's one of, and you were there for this. Last year we go to Cheney for football.
Oh Lord!
And that's a whole episode itself.
That's all it is.
But this is the kind of stuff you see at this level at D2 and like smaller high schools. We've seen a lot of there could be like 20 high school episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So we're at Cheney and we're doing football, and it's fine. We're doing good. We have the 2 cameras on top of the press box, and the announcers are in front of the press box, and I'm in the back row of the press. But the press box is pretty nice and spacious. And we're sitting there, we're doing the games, and to the left of me, about 5 feet on the console, was a giant craft services or what's what I'm looking for, food service.
Yeah, right.
Bowl that started the day with ice.
With ice.
And
So
waters
hot.
and
So
drinks.
hot. Yep.
So hot. It was probably, honestly, the field temperature is probably about 100.
And then just the press box.
Press box,
closed in. It was probably.
It was in its 80s.
It was up there.
So, the whole game, I'm looking down at you guys announcing. Every once in a while, Dylan's getting up to get a water for Coach Salisbury, and so at the end of the game, like 2 or 3 minutes left, the game it was like 79-3 or something like that. It was not a close game. And keep in mind, people are getting these waters and drinks from this bowl the entire game. And I look over and there's a guy. I don't know if he was on staff or if he was a coach or whatnot. He's just
a passerby.
Just a guy, because
passing by.
And that's the wonders of the D2 press box. Sometimes you just walk in,
know.
So I'm like, keep in mind, the entire game, people are getting drinks out of this, and this guy comes by and just dunks his entire head in this bowl of water, like he had done it a million times. And I'm like thinking, that is a bold move. And I'm like, I was speechless. I'm like, is that something we're doing now? We're just putting our heads in the bowl? And it wasn't like the bowl was empty. Yeah. There were still waters in there. So at some point, someone is going to take this water. Yeah.
Disgusting.
It was like last period in like high school gym with like in the pool where it's just like layers of sweat. And so I'm like, and that's what I thought, we got another 7 hours.
That whole day was just unbelievable. Altogether, it was like a 15-hour day or something.
Yeah,
like that.
After a night game of football, high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we got up.
That was a long one. That's going to be a good one. But anything else?
I think that's it. I think we covered the Gannon stuff, and we'll have to get J.R. Wheeler on here, John Coutura. If you're an alum, reach out to us on Facebook and say, hey, I want to be part of the podcast. Cool. Got to get the memories.
Yeah, that's it. All right, Gary, thanks again. We'll be getting together soon. Actually, right after this. Go to lunch?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Stuffed pepper soup day.